He really made my crappy welds look a little bit better. But no, in all seriousness, it turned out really good. Hey guys, welcome back to Sign Me Up Designs. This is Brian again. I think we're on day 6 of the build, maybe 7, I don't know. And today we're going to be working on some parts for paint prepping and just kind of mocking up some stuff for the paint. We've already got all the parts stripped off and they're being sent to powder coat. We've got the fork tubes, the handlebars, and the swing arm going to powder coat to be powder coated a nice durable gloss black. So today we're going to be prepping everything for paint. I've already spoken with a paint guy. We've picked out some colors and it's going to look really cool when it's done. So before we do that though, I have to modify the front fender to work on the rear fender. So you guys know we're not going to be running a front fender on here, just a rear fender. But since the tire's skinnier, we're going to be mounting the front fender as the rear fender. And I'll show you how we're going to do that right now. All right, so here is the factory front fender that came on it. It's got these 2 little legs that used to bolt on the front between the forks. So what I plan on doing, and I'm gonna try to do this with one hand, is I'm actually gonna cut these legs off, the little legs right here. I'm gonna grind these little, I guess, stud welds or whatever those are. I'm gonna grind those off, rivets. I guess some people call them rivets. I'm gonna grind them off and I'm gonna cut the fender almost in half. I'm not really sure how to cut it yet, but what basically I'm gonna end up with is a fender that kind of sits like this from the side, and we're going to cut these off too at one point. I'm just not sure where I want to cut that yet. So anyway, the fender is going to sit like this in the middle, and it's going to be kind of like a little stubby rear fender just to keep stuff from slinging onto you. So how we're going to achieve that is we're going to take this hole, which is the factory seat hole, and use that as the upper mount. And then we're going to take a piece of flat bar that we used earlier, and we're going to grind off a little bit of the frame here. We're gonna weld a piece of flat bar here to mount as the second hole, the second mounting hole in the bottom here. So it'll have 2 mount points, one about here, and then we'll use the factory seat mount right there. And then we'll put some, we'll drill some holes in here, and then we'll use some nice little rubber grommets to keep the vibration and noise down. But that's the plan, so let's get to cutting this fender up. Alright, here's our shortened fender. Turned out pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is, I have a couple solutions here. Originally I was going to take a piece of flat bar, weld it from here to here, and then mount the center point here, and then have 2 center point mounts. But I have another idea. If you look at the back of the frame here, this piece actually sticks out a little farther than this piece. So the distance here to here is the same, but as it goes farther up, this kind of tapers in a little bit. So it kind of offsets the center of the fender at the bottom mount, but I have a solution. All right, so I've got the top bolt mounted up where the seat's gonna bolt into, and what I'm looking at down here is, instead of doing that cross piece, I can actually tuck this fender farther back up here, and then I can use one of the existing holes that we drilled the rivets out of for the original mount, and I'm going to actually run a nutsert into the frame, so that keeps us from having to tack to the frame and then do a little crossbar and then drill into that and then grind this down and then repaint it. That saves from doing all that, and it's actually going to keep it pretty center right in the middle of everything. So that'll give us a nice little fishtail fender, so to speak. So I'm going to give that a shot first before I weld anything. Okay, fender is mounted. That's going to be the top screw for whatever, or bolt for whatever the seat goes on. We'll just kind of add that to the mix of the bolts there, and then I don't have any right side thread pitches for this nutsert. But you can see it is tucked in there on the frame, and it's going to sit perfectly right there with 2 mounting points. And these will obviously be tight later on, but it'll cover everything we need it to cover. And yeah, we're looking good here. Now it's time to take everything to paint. All right, so we got the fork tubes off there, one there, and we're gonna lob these little fender mounts off of here and try to smooth this out as best we can to make it round. We're just gonna use a little cutoff wheel to kind of knock a big chunk off of it, and then come back with this little flat disc and smooth everything back out. So here we go. All right, so here's how they turned out. Look pretty good. I can't even really tell that there was anything there, and try to grind it down as smooth as I could. But nice thick powder coat should fill up a little bit of imperfections you see. But yeah, it looks really good, I think. Also knocked off some stickers and took a little adhesive that was off with a wire wheel from the little reflector adhesive that was there. So yeah, a little bit of alcohol. These things will be ready to powder coat. So again, we're powder coating the 2 fork tubes, which are here and here. We're powder coating the swing arm and these handlebars. They're all going to be a nice gloss black. In the last episode, I mentioned that I was going to get some different rotors that kind of matched the sprocket a little bit better, and they finally came in today. But here's what we have going on. So here's the new rotors we got. This is the rear, and the front's exactly the same, but they match a little bit better there. But as you can see, the sprocket for the chain is kind of got like a chrome finish to it, a nice chrome finish, and this is just a unpolished stainless. So what I'm going to try to do right now is take these rotors to my little polishing wheel over here, and I'm going to see if I can polish these things up to give it a nice little mirror looking finish on here. But they look really nice for the money I paid for them. They're really not too bad, so we'll see if they polish up and look a little bit better. Okay, here's what we got. They're definitely a little bit shinier, but they're not quite the high polish like chrome look I was going after. But if you can see, they got some pretty serious milling marks on here. I feel like if I sand on them a little bit, maybe I can get some of those marks out, and maybe I can get it to polish up a little bit better. But it's definitely an improvement from what it was. So the good news is I did get the bolt heads polished up really nice too, so I can reuse them, and they'll look just fine. They should match pretty good. That's kind of a comparison for you. See, I think these are chrome plated maybe, and that's why they're a little bit shinier. These are definitely not chrome plated, and I think the sprocket's definitely chrome plated too, so they look pretty close to the wheels. So anyway, that's gonna be fine for now. But yeah, let's put these rotors on the bike and see what they look like. All right, there we have it. Those look way better. What do you guys think? Is there a different way that I can get these things to polish up and look a little bit shinier? They don't look bad. I mean, they're definitely a lot better than the old ones. But I don't know. I feel like I can do better, but I don't know. Y'all tell me. Put your little suggestion down in the comment section there and let me know what you think I should try. But for now, these look excellent. I mean, they got a nice little shimmer to them, and they're not as bright as the chrome spokes or that chrome sprocket back there, but they look really good for now. For comparison, this is the old rotor with that sweet little swirl design that didn't look too bad on the other wheels, but they definitely did not look good on these. And I definitely like these new rotors a lot better than the old ones. Again, what do you guys think? Put your comments down in the bottom section. Do y'all have another set of rotors you think would look better? Let me know. I'm always open for suggestions. Here's a little bit of bonus footage for you guys. This is my brother's 2014 Street Glide. As you can see, there's no front wheel on it. We took it off to get the tire changed out on it. But man, I've always loved this bike. This was actually built by Backyard Baggers. Joey Hensley at Backyard Baggers built this one. I think back in 2014 actually. My brother bought this bike brand new and sent it off to him, and Joey did his thing on it. They're Camtech bags and fenders and everything. Is it Camtech bags? I think it's Camtech bags. I think it's Camtech fender and Dirty Bird bags. I can't remember, but the bags are molded into the side covers and everything. It's got a nice little black alligator seat with a little backrest, sissy bar to match. Tank's molded all the way down with the extensions. Got a nice Stony stereo touchscreen stuff in there. So yeah, this is a really cool bike. I really like this bike. Lots of chrome on the side, just looks awesome. But yeah, there's a little bit of bonus footage for you guys. Okay, next challenge, and this is something that I've been fighting off camera for quite some time, and maybe you guys can help me out with what I can do here. So, as you know, this is an 07, it's fuel injected, so this is the computer for the bike. And we have this power commander, which is actually a piggyback ECU. So what that means is it takes the factory connector that goes into the stock ECU and it piggybacks. So basically you plug this side into the factory connector, and then you plug this side into the ECU, the factory ECU, and then the dyno jet tells the ECU what to do as far as programming and air fuels. So this is a nice unit. However, I am thinking that we're not going to be able to run it, and the main reason is because of space. Now, if we were to use the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle tuner, what we would do is we would come over to this little plug right here, and we would jump into this plug, and this goes into the ECU as well, and we could actually upload a tune into the factory ECU versus having to run a piggyback like this. So if we do it that way, we can still get some tuning capabilities out of this bike, but we won't have to run the big bulky piggyback ECU. So I think I'm going to make this work, I'm going to sell this power commander, and on the factory bikes it sits in the rear fender. So this little, the power commander kit actually comes with this little bracket here. Where's the rear fender? Back here. So it sits down in the rear fender, the factory rear fender, and the factory seat bolts to here, and then everything's covered up by the seat. So it all kind of sits down in this little cubby, and the factory ECU is similar to this, but it's not as deep. So this is just a little bit deeper to accommodate both of the ECUs. So I thought about even taking this and running the ECU and the power programmer underneath the seat, but I don't like that idea, and here's why. So this is the seat we're going to be using. It's going to be a little Springer seat. It's kind of like a faux alligator brown seat, and it's got this bracket right here, and then there's going to be little springs that sit here and here. So go ahead and comment. Most of you guys probably aren't going to like this, but with the paint scheme that we got going on, I think it's going to look pretty killer. So just bear with it. Before you judge it, bear with it. But anyway, this is the spring, like a Sportster solo spring seat pan that you can buy, and these were the factory hole mounts for the studs that came up, like the little weld studs that are in here. And I've actually already cut the studs off, and we need to re-weld the studs here. But before I do that, I gotta do some more modifications. So here's my thoughts. I want to mount the seat like this, and this will be the seat pan. I'm going to paint this gloss black to match the frame, so don't worry about the color. But it's going to sit something like this. And what I want to do is I want to notch out this section for the factory ECU harness to come up and sit nicely through there. Then I can take the ECU and I can mount the ECU. I'm going to clean it up and make it look a lot better. Somewhere about here. And then the seat will actually kind of cover it up, but I'm not sure if I want to make like a little fence, like a metal fence or something to kind of block it off. I don't know. I'm worried about it getting too hot if I do that, but I might just leave it open to the air and just clean it off and make it look good. Take this little sticker off and stuff. But anyway, the seat will sit something like this, and then the springs will come down like that. Somewhere like that is where it's gonna sit. So I have a little bit of room to put the programmer on top, but the problem is I'd have to stack the programmer on top somehow, and then I'd have to hide all this big bulk of wires right here. All right guys, next day here, and I just picked up all the powder coated parts from my buddy Curtis. He actually lives here. I'll show you how close he lives to me. He lives, this is my backyard, and if you look through that tree line, the way back, there's a house right behind the shed, like over there. You can kind of see it super close. He crushed it on these powder coated black parts. He really made my crappy welds look a little bit better. But now in all seriousness, it turned out really good. And I will, y'all show him some love. I'll link his Instagram down at the bottom here. Show him some love and show him how much you appreciate helping me out on this build. Fair priced, and really did an excellent job. So these are gonna look really good on the bike. Hey guys, Brian here again, and as you can guess it, I forgot to film another outro. I'm getting really good at that. If anything, I'm getting good at forgetting to film outros. But anyway, thanks guys so much for watching. I know it's kind of a long one, and we kind of jumped all over the place. I promise I'll kind of reel it back in here as we're kind of finishing the end of this build. So again, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's _Brian Rogers. I'll post a bunch of pictures before I post videos to YouTube. Also, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's totally free to do. It helps me out a lot, and it keeps you guys up to date on this build and future builds and things like that. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.